Good evening. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Barnabas Brushes. This is my Miniature Mondays, where I paint my own commission miniatures or personal pieces or just items I want to work on for my own personal use. My name is Patrick. I play the character of Barnabas on the Elite Encounters Pathfinder 2nd Edition live play of the Soul Severed campaign, a homebrew campaign set in the custom world of Iota Dree. Hello, Pelican. Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming by. This evening, we're just going to work on some commission pieces. I've got some Hero Quest orcs I need to get done for a client. So without further ado, I'm going to get to work on those. Just a real quick question, Pelican, out there. Can you hear the music playing through the chat? If you're able to hear the music, just let me know. What we're working on today, we've got a squad of orcs from the Hero Quest board game. I've already went ahead and primed the miniatures themselves in black to lay down a slap chop prime or a grisaille prime to get ready for speed paints on these. The base, you can see these guys come in a kind of molded in a green plastic. So I've just kind of primed the model itself, not necessarily the base. I'll work on that after I finish the actual creature model. But I do have 4 of those bad boys to work on for this particular set. This particular expansion came with a number of orcs. There's 4 males with battle axes, 4 males with massive scimitars, 4 females with these kind of hooked blades, and then 4 other females, I believe, with really huge maces. So I have quite a bit of orcs to work through for this Hero Quest board game expansion. So let's get started. For the Slap Chop Prime or Grisaille priming, it is a dry brush prime. So to start off, I lay down a base coat of a brush-on primer in black. I like starting off with black because it gives the models kind of a more of a grimdark, gritty feeling to them. A lot of people will start off with just gray and highlight up to white. That gives the models a more vibrant color. And that's fine, but that particular style, I don't know. For some reason, it visually isn't as appealing to me as the more grimdark look you get with a black prime to start. For the primer, I use a brush-on primer that is a acrylic polyurethane blend produced by Vallejo. This is just the standard black primer. This is a brush-on primer. Welcome aboard, Mike. Thanks for popping in. I'm just curious. I do have some music playing in the background. If you can let me know if you can actually hear that coming through. Overwatch, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for popping in. Okay, so you can hear it, but it's quiet. Okay, well, quiet's good. We don't want it to drown out what I'm doing, but maybe we'll kick it up a notch. Let me know if it gets really overburdening loud. It is a softer musical piece. From the Into the Wilds map position, Into the Wilds map Kickstarter, I don't know why I said position, used with permission when you purchase that Into the Wilds map set. All right, to start off on our dry brushing of our model, we're going to use a very inexpensive eyeshadow blender brush. Hey, Evil, thanks for popping in. Appreciate you coming by. This brush, it's you can pick this up at any department store for like $2. Um, Number of manufacturers make dry brushes specifically for miniature painting, but at about 5 to 10 times the cost, depending on what you're buying. So I have no problem going on the cheap. So to dry brush these, we're just going to get this brush and just load just the ends of our bristles with our gray primer. You can see that there. And then we're going to wipe out all that excess primer into a paper towel or other surface. Some people don't like a paper towel because it absorbs the moisture out of your primer, but it doesn't bother me. It is, after all, dry brushing. And then just with an easy downward stroke, you're just going to let the primer come off of your brush onto the model, where the higher parts of the model will absorb that primer. You can see as I brush this down, the texture of the model will take on that primer in the highest parts, creating that sense of highlight and shadow on the figure. All right, Overwatch. We'll talk to you tomorrow, I'm sure, if you don't pop in again into the chat later. Oh, geez, -10. Oh, okay, well, we are at least in double digits here, so I don't envy you up there. Dry brushing is kind of revealing some of the texture in the armor. We'll let this focus so you can see kind of the pitting and some of that iron plate on the orc's legs there. We're starting to get a sense of texture, light and shadow. It's precisely what this is designed to do. This particular sculpt, they made the orcs have this tiny little mohawk style hairdo on the top of their head here. So we'll make sure we capture that highlight of that. Oh, hey, thanks for popping by. Happy Monday to everybody. There's some discussion at work today whether we should refer to Mondays as miserable Mondays or moody Mondays or blue Mondays, especially with this weather going on. I think my director and I settled on blue Mondays. For sure, yes. Oh, is Thursday your Mondays? Is that why, or what's going on there? Well, that sounds like a great time, being out in the cold doing that. Yay! That's one of the main reasons why we do it, Laura, is to help bring some entertainment and joy to those people out there who watch us and support us. So we certainly appreciate that we can do that for you. We're happy that we can do that for you. We hope that we can bring that same entertainment and uh, relief from the day to day grind to lots of other people out there. And that's why we ultimately get into gaming is to escape and, let those creative juices flow for sure, but also to kind of get a break from being Patrick and instead, jumping in and playing Barnabas or Sunshine or Civil or B Rock or some of the other characters they've had in other campaigns, like uh, Keldon Mar or uh, let's see, Yorzin Karavash. I've had a lot of Rowan Tillinghast, one of my favorite characters ever. Sadly met his demise at the hands of a rune lord. Yep. I've definitely had my favorite RPG characters that I've ever played. What about you guys out there? Do you have some of your favorite RPG characters that you've ever played? What were they? What were their names? What were their class? If they died, how did they meet their demise? Tell me about your favorite character while I'm slapping the chops. This primer is going on a little thicker than I like, but that's good. We want a lot of gray. Uh, we don't want it to be too dark. So I don't want to lose track of those shadows, though. Well, Laura, just move out to Indianapolis and you know, hook up with elite encounters. Sure, we could use a player or two, but I'm sure moving to Indianapolis doesn't sound like a lot of fun. No offense to Indianapolis. Well, maybe a little. Okay, I'm going to switch up to doing my white primer, but yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you can hear it. Uh, Unfortunately, I don't think the tone of this particular piece fits with the orcs. So I think that I might switch it up a little bit uh, to something a little bit more orky. You know, a little bit more warrior-like. Okay, so now to really capture those highest highlights, we're going to switch to our white primer. And again, I still use that polyurethane acrylic blend primer from Vallejo, from the gray right up to the white. Your character's name was Speckle No, or just Speckle and everyone would shout Speckle No? I'm curious now, as my character was also a wizard. Was he by chance a gnome wizard? This is great paint mixing music. Oh, a Kinder. Okay. For some reason, I read that as Kinder Wizard. I'm like, okay, well, like kinder than who? Evil wizards? Okay, but I get it. A Kinder Wizard. And for those of us who are not familiar, or for those of out there watching who aren't familiar, what is a Kinder? In case you haven't read the Dragonlance Chronicles. Okay, so for the white, we're just going to, yep, that's a great description. Absolutely. Yep. Sure. Okay, for the white, just a very easy top down to catch the highest highlights, because that's where we want the model to be the brightest. So we're not going to go all over the model with the white, just down real quick over the highest points. Still want that kind of gradient in the shadows. The light's definitely going to catch off the top of his calf here with these straps for his greaves. These are some fun little minis, but sometimes I find that for board game miniatures, the detail isn't usually as finely honed as they are for like tabletop RPG or tabletop miniatures, Warhammer miniatures. Board game miniatures tend to have a little bit less fine detail on them. We got to kind of try and interpret what the sculptor's doing and help bring out that what detail we can from the sculpt. We'll just keep going right down the line, assembly line style. Henry Ford would be proud. Fortunately for me, I have the filters turned off for profanity because I, for one, enjoy profanity as a use of language, and I see what you're saying, and it's kind of fun. Oh, that's three. A little bit more white on the brush here. Fireball does tend to make every wizard's problems go away. That is true. My first Pathfinder character in first edition was a draconic bloodline sorcerer, red dragon bloodline. So fire was his friend for sure. All the classic fire spell repertoire. Alright, I think we're about ready to slap some paint on these guys. So I'm going to clean out my dry brush real quick. Get a new paper towel for brush cleaning purposes. Grease, yeah, classic. Lots of utility for grease, whether it's crowd control or grapple rescue or whatever. It's a very useful spell for sure. Making zombies go away. Grease is for making zombies go away? You're gonna have to elaborate on that for me. Oh, just add fire. Yeah, sure. I suppose if you rule that that form of grease is flammable, why wouldn't it be? It's grease. What if the lube was flammable though? Is that a problem? Yeah, that's a whole different school of magic, right? Oh man. Okay, so for orcs, these are classic green skin orcs, right? So, like for the females, I've done a couple skin tones here. There's kind of this classic, almost like World of Warcraft looking green. And then let's see here. Yeah, a little bit darker tone to this one here, more of an olive skin tone. So there's a slight difference between the two. There we go. That's a little bit better illustration of the difference in skin tones. We can get this focused. Oh no! All right. Get out a hard palette here for my speed paints. So as you guys probably are aware already, almost exclusively working with speed paints here. And the first color that we'll use to give this that kind of lighter skin tone, that kind of classic World of Warcraft look, is Gilly Dew, which is this bright green, almost like a chartreuse. Not quite a chartreuse, but approaching chartreuse. We'll do this for a couple of these males on their skin tone here. Keep that out handy. Alright, for speed paints, I like to use really inexpensive synthetic brushes, golden Taklon bristles, really cheap. Reason being is speed paints have a real high flow to them due to the medium, so they tend to flow up into the ferrule of your brush really easily, and that tends to ruin your bristles fairly quickly. So I don't want to use expensive brushes for speed painting, just standard synthetic brushes with these really fine tips you can get at any department store for about $5 for a 12 or probably an 8-pack of these brushes. So we're just going to take this a liberal amount of the paint on the brush and just start applying it anywhere that there is skin exposed. And what will happen, you can see this happening on the prime there. The heavier, darker pigments will settle into the shadows, and the lighter colored pigments, the less dense pigments, will stay on top, accentuating that shadow and highlight that we've created with our prime. These are fairly translucent paints, so your underpaint definitely shows through. It's very hard not to want to paint to the rhythm of the music. It's going to be interesting. Okay. So catch the fingers here. See that facial features are starting to form already. You can now see like his nose, his eye sockets, the tip of his tusk. Huh. Am I painting in the underwear? If you mean his little loincloth, yeah, I'll get to that shortly. Take your time, Laura. We'll get to the good stuff soon enough. Giving you a hard time, Laura. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's pretty cool to kind of watch these come to life when you start slapping the paint on over the prime. You're like, oh, wow, yeah, for a board game tabletop mini, this looks pretty cool. I painted a giant on Saturday, and after the priming and everything, and I put the paint on, the very subtle uh, musculature and the skin tones over that musculature started coming to life, and it's very cool to watch happen right in front of your eyes like that. And you're thinking, oh, this. And if I was to be layer painting that, I don't know that I could achieve that smoothness of shadow into highlight, especially on musculature like skin, and it's just so much easier and faster, and still gets really good results. So simple, even an orc can do it. No offense to orcs. You can see all the details, all the knuckles in his toes. And it starts to develop as the paint dries, almost like watching a Polaroid develop like back in the day. in just a few minutes, we've got most of the skin on this orc painted. We'll have to do his arms. Trying to get a good sense of where the armor vest, kind of this weird scale mail vest thing, ends and the skin begins. Looks like it's mostly like a vest, like a breastplate almost, and he's bare skinned underneath. I'm sure that's very comfortable. Stabilizing my brush with my pinky on the axe blade just so I don't like flick it with too much pressure and hit a place where I don't want the paint to go. Because this paint is translucent, you can't really paint over it like you can with standard acrylics. So if you mess up, you gotta prime over your mess up. That's kind of a pain. Mistakes do happen. I think that's the look we're going for. Like a vest. All right. That would probably help, right? Maybe that's the whole key to peace with orcs is teaching them proper armor donning. Yes, by all means, get an STL figured out and get that printed, and I will certainly paint up Esteban because he is he's now regular on the show, right? So you gotta have a mini for him. Make sure that hat has the appropriate feather/feathers. Okay, I think that's good for the skin tone for one of our orcs. Let's give our brush a quick wash out. I think we'll do one more of the same Ghillie Dhu skin tone, the same Ghillie Dhu speed paint from the 2.0 line. So we'll have two in this kind of more chartreuse looking color, and then we'll do two kind of more of a more olive looking color. Not as brightly colored like World of Warcraft orc, more like an olive drab orc, like a standard Pathfinder. The D&D orcs, if I'm not mistaken, were gray, and even going back to like the AD&D days, or even the red box orcs, those guys were pig-faced orcs, and those have kind of gone the wayside for these more anthropomorphic green skin orcs. Uh, I don't know. I don't know why that is. I don't know if the advent of the Games Workshop orc a ORK orcs um, kind of brought that on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the genealogy or evolution of the orc in D&D parlance. So if you know more about it, let me know. I know there's some people out there that have been playing D&D since way back who may know better than I do the uh, evolution or family tree of the D&D orc. Now, you probably noticed that as I'm painting the face, I'm just slapping paint right over where the tusks and the eyes and all that stuff is. That's because once the Speed Paint 2.0 dries, I can paint over it with a standard acrylic paint. So what I've been doing for these orcs and for most of my minis is I just paint the face in the underlying skin tone right over all the details, eyes, teeth, everything that's exposed. And once it dries, then I paint in any details. Like these guys have big tusks that I'll paint in. I'll paint in their eyes. Um, if their mouth is open, I'll paint in like the interior of the mouth and like the tongue and things like that. So it's okay to just slap your paint right over your prime to get your facial features blocked out, and then you can certainly go in and do the details later. Just let that speed paint dry. If it is the 2.0 speed paint formulation, that is. If it's 1.0, you're going to need to put some kind of fixative or clear coat over it before you paint over the top of it. Otherwise, it'll reactivate and the color will bleed through your highlight color. And that's no fun. Looks like this breastplate is held up by a chain over this shoulder. It's kind of a cool feature, detail. Well, what's going on, Seer? I'm assuming that's Seer. Yeah, as soon as I get that in hand, will get that painted up for the show. We'll make that a priority here at Barnabas Brushes to get a nice Esteban Mini on the table. But what if he dies before the miniature gets painted? Then what? Then we're just stuck with a miniature. So, oh. Or what if I'm painting the Esteban miniature and I get about halfway done with it and I walk away from the paint desk and then I come back and I see the figure and I'm like, what is this? I don't remember painting this. Hello. Nice to see you here on the channel. I appreciate it. This is amazing. We have I think the most people in the chat that I've ever seen. So thank you so much for coming by. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I think that only makes sense, right? Like, a little bit more. Right, I think I've got all the skin on this guy as well. Sit a little bit right here next to this. Cool. That was a great close-up shot of the tip of my brush. That's awesome. All right, camera awareness. Okay, so we'll clean this brush out because I am going to switch up colors for the next two. Different skin tone, a little bit more olive tone. So for that a little bit more subdued green, I'm going to use algae green. A beautiful name for a color. Right. So orc number 3. I'm just cranking these right along. I think I'm gonna have to invest in one of those over desk lights to get a little bit more illumination. My little ring light in my magnifier lamp just isn't cutting it light wise. Just need a little bit more illumination here, both for my own eyes and for the camera. That might be the me item out of this coming paycheck. Yeah, do that, Overwatch. I appreciate that. Like something that like sits on a desk and like go arcs over the workspace. Like if you're doing mini assembly or if you're doing like Quinn. Well, my son does a lot of computer hardware work, so a lot of soldering, and so he's got like this arc light that like an arcing LED light that goes over his work area, something like that. Saying his name like everybody on the channel knows who he is. Maybe one person on the channel knows who he is. It's been a long day, folks. I might be mentally slipping as I'm painting away, but making progress. Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at the Discord and take a look at that. And I appreciate the help. I appreciate the tip. It's true. And still getting my wits about me, I guess. But it helps to have a good team. Speaking of good team, be sure to check us out tomorrow on the Elite Encounters channel. You can see the banner up there. There should be a link. Recommended channels down there below me. Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to check out our Pathfinder 2nd Edition real play of the Soul Severed campaign, which is a homebrew campaign set in a world called Iota Dreams, crafted by our very own seer here in the channel. So it's a very interesting world. It's a very dynamic, high fantasy world that we have uh, gone from. It feels like one end of the globe to the other, but really it's only one end of the continent to the other. It seems like so. Lots of very cool stuff going on there. Be sure to check us out 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And then I'll be back here Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern to paint some more miniatures specifically for the Elite Encounters channel for Barnabas Brushes. I'll be working on those Epic Encounters Undead miniatures that we're almost done with that set. Thursday, Overwatch will be streaming. What game are you guys streaming this week? You guys got anything planned, or are you just gonna let us know in chat? Anyway, check that out Thursday. That channel should be linked in the Elite Encounters channel. I need to put it in my recommended channels below as well. I'm gonna have to do that here in a moment. Uh, but I appreciate everybody coming by. We appreciate the support here at Elite Encounters and our kind of partner channels. So feel free to check us out. Make sure when you're there to follow us on Twitch. Give us a follow here on this Twitch channel if you could, on Overwatch's Twitch channel. Civil's got a Twitch channel now. Be sure to give him a follow there. And Yeah, I'm sure by Thursday you'll have something figured out. I have 100% faith there. And then we have videos on demand that drop on Friday on YouTube, so go subscribe over there on YouTube. And if you can, check out our Patreon as well. There's some interesting things going on the Patreon. Every little bit of support helps. We appreciate everybody out there that helps us continue to bring hopefully entertaining content to you out there in the digital world. So until next time, thanks for popping by Barnabas Brushes. We'll catch you tomorrow on Elite Encounters for the Soul Severed campaign. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Good evening.